Hi, my name is Jessie Lendennie. I'm the editor of Salmon Poetry. I'm just going to read a little bit from my introduction, and then I'll read my own poem. Even The Daybreak represents 35 years of my life that wouldn't have existed without poetry. Well, it would have existed somewhere, I guess. Let's say that it's 35 years that wouldn't have had any meaning to me without poetry, without poets. I'd like to say that I can look back critically without nostalgia, but that's not possible. Talking to some of the poets Salmon has published in the early years is like dropping through time and bringing everything with you. In the same way, say, as reading Walt Whitman's Crossing Brooklyn Ferry and knowing that you're listening to him right next to you, watching the Manhattan skyline. In other words, timelessness, which is essential in poetry. Now, my poem is called Alien, and it's for my granddaughter, Eve Catherine Janot. Eve Catherine Hudson Janot. And yes, Alien. There are space aliens in the trees in my backyard, only there aren't any trees. Just mud and rocky holes made by stone-mad dogs looking for dog gold. And once I went out at 3 a.m. and a dissolving star told me that I had only one lifetime left. And I thought of meeting you in another country, you laughing, saying that my middle name, Aline, was alien in disguise. And I thought of all the trees I'd never live in. I thought of all the years I'd spent digging for stars, watching their alien sparkle drift to the holes in the sky.
Hello, my name is Eva Bourke. I'm originally from Germany, and I've lived in Galway for many, many years. And I had the luck and honor to be chosen for Salmon's first publication 35 years ago, believe it or not. And my first book was entitled Gonella. And Jessie and her team have been absolutely wonderful over the years to work with, and they have fostered a writing community, a poetic community in Galway and far beyond Galway, and worked tirelessly all these years, and I have great respect and love for them. And I'm going to read from the 35th anniversary collection here, a relatively new poem called Berlin Nocturama. The nights are getting colder, but the young men beneath our windows have to stay on their post till the small hours. They have come here from Africa, Eritrea, Zambia, the Republic of Congo, Cameroon. We can hardly imagine how or what they might have seen before they left to cross deserts, continents and seas, in rusting containers, in boat wrecks, strapped to the underside of trucks, and were washed up on some unfriendly northern shore. They chat quietly or listen to music on their phones. They smoke, they wait. They are masters of waiting. In summer, they stash their merchandise under tree roots. Something beautiful for you, they say when we pass. Now in December, they keep it hidden beneath parked vans. They ask in a whisper, everything good? Blessing us with their smiles. They were beautiful colors, sky blue, bamboo green, corn yellow, soil red, the colors of their countries on a colonial African map for children. At night you hardly see them in their dark winter jackets, in the weak glow of the gas lamps. But their dreamy faces light up when we pass by them, guardians of our door. The fireflies of their cigarettes dance around them, going on and off. They shelter beneath the descending wing of the dark, share it with a lone clubber or a Roma bottle collector who pushes his clinking hand cart along the street. When they leave, they take the night with them.
Mary O'Malley celebrating the 35th anniversary of Salmon, and congratulations Jessie and Siobhan and Tim. A job very well done. The Bite. After living alone so long, the negotiations, houses and where to live, China, the Balkans, what may the Irish take pennies from heaven, the smaller matter of roads, water pipes frozen, we agree or give up easily on who's responsible. But my accounting skills, which run to a sick stomach and the shakes, cause you alarm. Just as one round ends, another starts. Cromwell, the role of the Catholic Church, trees. Decisions reversed by the cold light of experience. Why bills are kept in the wastepaper basket. Can you think of a better place? In conscience. This morning, punch drunk after the late night disagreement, I walked downstairs. You were watching tennis for breakfast, smiling over your toast, innocent as only a man after a good sleep can look. Your cheek is smooth. Watching you, I know why Sylvia bit Ted Hughes.
My name is Rita Ann Higgins, and I'm reading from Even The Daybreak, Jessie Lendennie's birthday book. Looking out from the fog. He was an awful liar. He said they took out his tubercular gland and hung it on a tree to dry. No one else said things like that. It gave us a laugh at the wall. We were the last of the leaners and blamers gang. Gussie owned the tubercular gland story and all stinking liver, big, small and middling-sized tapeworm in the intestine stories. He could weave a lonely streak with his war and loss stories that would make us nearly cry, and we were big men. Well, some of us were big. Most of us was shrinking from getting a taste of nothing these days. The amount of times he got thrown down a well and left for dead in his stories was not funny, but we laughed as we leaned and blamed. Gussie was a spitter as well as a leaner and blamer. He used to say, "Cross yourself thrice if you see a suitcase bobbing in the canal." Like, when were we going to see a suitcase bobbing in the canal? He had a whole charm bracelet of weather stories. He didn't like fog. Any other weather the body can beat, he'd say, but the fog mangles the lungs, like a net curtain jiving with wasps. He had a thing about lungs. Wasps he could take or leave. With fog, you don't know who your enemy is. You don't know where he's been before he went in. Is he just a man of fog, or a man looking out from the fog? Or is he a spectre from the suitcase bobbing in the canal? With most stories we'd laugh. With this one, we didn't.
My name is Pete Molineaux, and I'm going to be reading from Even The Daybreak, 35 Years of Salmon Poetry. My poem is called Fairway. How could he have missed the final easy putt? Facing the TV reporters for the ritual post-mortem, having played a flawless approach, a sensational drive from the tee, a string of eagles and birdies carded, placing him on the brink of a course record. The seasoned golfer could only recall considering a line of fire, trying to read for bias in the green, when the grass appeared to ripple in his direction, then grow exponentially like a wildlife film, speeded up, as if suddenly remembering it was a living thing. An earthquake-like shudder that shook his club so violently his arm vibrated, and the hole appeared 1,000,000 miles away. The slight incline a mountain slope. Benign clouds overhead took on the shape of zeppelins. A flock of starlings became a fighter squadron. It was all he could do to hold his ground as the world ripped to pieces before him. The briefest of flashbacks. A younger self cornered in a schoolyard. But the clearer image came from earlier in the hotel, chilled out on the comfortable bed, idly watching TV. The program had finished, and as the news came on, with the remote out of reach, some unaccountable lethargy stopped him getting up to retrieve it, switched the channel. A bombed-out building, peppered with holes, filled the screen. Some foreign, dusty place. Then a child's face, a small boy holding a stick, prodding a loose stone. staring at the camera.
My name is Patricia Bourke Brogan. I'll read for you my poem Beyond from Salmon Poetry's Even The Daybreak anthology, just published. Excuse me. Beyond. Beyond my window, 3 spiders weave veils of silver. 3 trapeze artists swing from clustered woodbine. Their mysterious tapestries glisten in fractured sunlight. Beyond my hall door, 1 human pushes 3 dustbins to the roadside. 3 plastic monsters, their blood-red jaws bristle with offal. Beyond my gateway, 3 trucks, haloed in fumes, hoist the monsters, unload and masticate. Beyond my window, 1 feather floats through clustered woodbine. Its silver-white filaments transport me to the other world of angels and archangels.
My name is Vicki Crowley, and I'm reading from the Salmon Publishing Anthology, the 31st anniversary. I'm going to read a poem called First Irish Spring, which I wrote for my mother, Maish Wireb. Every time I hear the cuckoo sing, I think of you, and how you ran into the house, cheeks ablaze, and cried, "The cuckoo sang for me." And every time I see the daffodils unfurl, I think of you, and how you stood reciting Wordsworth in your stout voice. Every time I see the gentian violets appear, I think of you, and how you crooned, how sweet, until I thought my heart would break. That is why I suddenly embraced you in the supermarket, amongst the rows of razor blades, by the cashier's till. For there you stood, alien and tanned, in this land of muted tones. Every time I think of spring, I see you amongst the daffodils, and cuckoos sing unceasingly. With violets in your buttonhole, you laugh like a child, our roles reversed in the joy of your discoveries.
I'm Elaine Feeney, and I'm reading from Even The Daybreak, which celebrates 35 years of salmon poetry. I'm going to read a poem called The Harvest. There is nothing in the old tune beat factory, only a greasy fluttering of natterers, bats and some gnawing weasels. Once the full silos were emptied out, gathering began again. Bring in the harvest, pregnant on a town promise, who plucked her beets from well-drained ground. Bring your harvest to the side door, ring the bell, check them in. Throw away the bruised, pay the grower for the clean ones, pay the grower for the fresh ones, pay the grower for the ripe ones, pretty ones, weigh them. Tip them to piles, make little beet hillocks, line them straight, singular, inspect with an old blackthorn stick, poke them. Extract precious stone, then gravel unable to be consumed, extract the bitter, slash the beets to cossets, cast them away over the ditch, or take them to the pit of the dark night, move across the concrete slab, opening it, sidestep the weasels, minding your ankle flesh. They'll eat the rabbits and the sugar. They'll sit on the slab, spread-eagled and salivate. It's rumoured they'll hunt you down out the Weir Road after matins or midnight mass, naked of your cassocks, and rip the cornea from your eyes, then feast on it. They'll even come after your soul and chew it, refusing to release it. Don't interrupt their funerals. They'll pull the skin from your hide and salt all belonging to you, kneecappings and featherings, casting a weasel spell. Close over the concrete slab, quickly, blank your thoughts, bless yourself. Don't look at the small skulls. Don't check if the hair is still growing. Don't take a deep breath. Do not breathe.
Hello, my name is Gabriel FitzMaurice and I'm reading from the Salmon anthology, Even The Daybreak. The poem is called The Inspector Calls. As you will see from it, I used to be a teacher. The inspector calls, we all stand. Tá fáilte oath, I take his hand. He flaunts his Irish, mine is better, then turns to English. Like a debtor, I fawn upon him while he goes through the books, then strikes a pose as he probes my class to find out if I've been doing my job, and by God he's stiff. I've done my job, no thanks to him, and those in power who on a whim deprive us of the things we need to teach our kids, because their greed broke this country, and now we are in debt for all eternity. And still I come here day by day to teach these kids to live and pray, but prayer is now frowned upon by the commissars of education. The Inquisition over, it seems I've passed, myself and my faithful class. He turns to Irish once again. To me, Irish is a friend, but to him it's a means to show just who here is in control. He leaves my classroom, we all stand. Slán a bhaile, I take his hand, but I swear beneath my breath it's men like him will be the death of all the things that I hold dear. The republic of conscience we have here in this classroom where I teach and laugh and learn. By God, but each of these children deserve more than to be insulted by a bore who thinks that schooling is a way to preserve the status quo. I pray for these children and for all whose backs are lately to the wall, crippled by austerity, that we can still stand proud and free, for freedom is that blessed state that's born with us, the tyrants hate, who use schooling to control what's innate in every soul. By God, but they won't control me, for in my classroom I am free. In my classroom I am free.
I'm Celeste Augé, and I'm reading from Even The Daybreak, celebrating 35 years of salmon poetry. My poem is called Start Over. So this is what it's like to start over, to pick apart the mistakes hard woven into each day. They drove me mad, but I knew them, chased my fairy tale from decade to decade, groomed to fail. I spent years becoming my mum and dad, lost years in the consumer choir trance, ran around like all the other ants to prove my group worth, had my palms torn up on black briars. I was a grown-up, always tired, doing what they told me on TV ads. I had given up on doubt. Now I dream of getting spaced out, finding a city inside the city, holding hands with myself in the cold, rereading old novels, covers rolled back, balanced against my knee on the air mattress, as hunger cross-fades into hunger, taste and touch, afraid of what it's really like to be, of empty rooms, empty days, empty faces, all new, all my mistakes out there waiting for me.
Hello, my name is Gerard Hanberry, and I'm going to read my poem Encounter from Salmon's 35 Years of Salmon Poetry anthology, Even The Daybreak. Encounter. I met my father today on the road out from town, pushing his bicycle through the grey sea mists. Dead for years, younger than me now, he did not immediately recognize his only son. Said I looked a bit shook, and why wouldn't I, given the circumstances? He inquired about work and such. We didn't go into much detail. I lied a little, asked how he was getting along. He wondered if there was an All-Ireland in Galway this year. No chance, I said. We never mentioned his accident, how it all came to such a sudden end. He looked at me once or twice. Strange how time flies, he remarked. Then the mists thickened, and he was gone.